He was at the Centrepoint Awards, which is a very glitzy ceremony, but it was celebrating the really important cause, which is young people who have transformed their lives after being homeless. And we know that that is an issue, a campaign that Prince William is really serious about. He's about to have an ITV documentary covering this issue. I've seen it, and it's really poignant. And
boy.
Obviously, that's also an issue that comes from his mother. But yes, his cousin was there, Lady Kitty Spencer, is that right? And so that was a very glamorous event, but for a really important issue.
Are you serious?
And then from black tie to white shoes, and these have caused a bit of a stir, haven't they?
Yeah. Well, the brand itself is quite popular online. I was practicing the pronunciation. I think it's Veja. Yeah. I think it's a French brand, but they're very trendy white trainers.
And vegan.
Yes, vegan. Yes. And I think Catherine herself might have worn them with a suit before. But yeah, he was wearing it it was an event for NFL Foundation UK.
Wow.
Which is, again, it's a charity that supports young people from disadvantaged backgrounds. And it was quite an engaging event. He was playing a bit of American football and, being really popular, getting on really well with the young kids. And, engagements like that are always really popular, I think, where they're a bit more active rather than just sort of handshaking. But, I don't know, royals and trainers, maybe we'll see more of it.
Well, the Veja trainers are sort of like part of the mum uniform as well, aren't they? Sort of like floral dress, denim jacket, trainers.
So I was going to say, maybe I've seen you in them before.
I wear them to the office sometimes, but mine aren't white at all anymore. His were box fresh. They were so white. Mine are all sort of scuffed now.
Oh, bless William. He probably just wears them once and then, gives them to a servant.
They're made of mushroom leather, so maybe they're biodegradable.
And they're great. They always look really good. Now, the royals, Richard, are by and large traditional, but it seems that the younger ones, the new crop coming in, and their fashions are evolving.
Are you sure about that?
Yes, this is fun. King Charles is a very stylish dresser, really.
Are you serious?
He is.
And for his shoes, he's always favoured traditional English names, usually made in Northampton.
Yeah, so very heritage, very, sustainable quality.
Yeah, brands like Tricker and what's the other one?
Churches.
Yeah, right.
I don't think
Wales
there's Churches actually,
likes.
but Crockett and Jones, or there's very traditional brands. And it's hard to imagine King Charles in a pair of box fresh white trainers, but perhaps for royal warrants in the future, we might have, one for makers of trainers or sneakers, as the Americans say.
You never know. You never know.
Has he ever been seen in trainers? I don't know.
What?
Maybe while playing sport, perhaps.
Maybe,
I think we would dedicate a whole episode of Palace Confidential if King Charles
have had
white trainers.
A couple of Playboy Prince moments in a pair of trainers. Probably, sort of like old Adidas sneakers or something, if we're thinking the 70s, right?
We have to dig out the archive.
Yeah, that's a good montage for us to look into.
Next week.
But Charlotte, Prince William was also praised for his throwing ability.
Yeah, apparently he's got a very strong arm when it comes to throwing an NFL ball, which is different from a rugby ball.
See, this is like Charlotte's got all the important information
so much
here.
about
I like
sport.
This. Yeah.
But it was quite funny because one of the people on his team said he actually throws better than I do. And she's, a sort of NFL player. So obviously he is really good at it. And he did. He kind of was aiming for this net with holes in, and he got 2 out of the 4 throws. First time ever, it's not so bad. And there was this quite young kid, he must have been about 10, who was kind of quite bossy with William, actually. It was quite funny to see. And he was going, no, put your hand like this. No, move your hand like this. And William looked a little bit taken aback. And I can't imagine he's bossed around too often, let alone by a 10-year-old boy. But he really took it with good grace and cracked a few funny jokes. He said he's going to practice at home and might smash a few windows back at home.
Do you see me laughing, my nigga?
It's really nice to see William on that old kind of fun, relaxed form that we used to see.
Yeah, it's been a tough couple of years, hasn't it? So I think that's great. Now we're going to stick with royal style for a minute because I wanted to look at a fascinating piece that was on Mail Online where Claire Gisotti pulled together the ways that the royals alter their outfits for both recycling and modesty reasons and how Catherine has followed the late Princess Diana in this regard. So Natasha, one that really stands out is the Jenny Packham Goldfinger dress that Catherine wore to a James Bond premiere.
Okay.
Yeah, so this was back in 2021. It was a classic red carpet event, and yeah, it was gold and sequined, and it had really sort of fixed, firm shoulders, but sort of draped kind of down the arms, and it glittered in all the photos, and she just really looked like, you know, a sort of Hollywood star. But yeah, it was made to be a bit more demure for the Princess of Wales, so the kind of neckline hem was raised a bit, just to kind of, yeah, make it a bit more elegant than maybe your average sort of Bond girl. But yeah, that looked really great.
Shut up, bro.
And Charlotte, it was a similar story with an Elie Saab dress that she wore to another royal wedding.
Yeah, she wore this incredible Elie Saab dress, and although it was high neck and long sleeves, which in theory is quite modest,
Are you serious?
it was meant to have these kind of transparent panels and sort of slits down the legs. Especially down the front. And on the catwalks, it looked incredible, but it would have looked a bit out of place for the Princess of Wales. So she just had it altered to cover up those bits and made it look, I mean, it looked stunning, actually.
Smart. Now, Natasha, it seems that Diana was also fond of an outfit alteration.
Yeah, well, we know that Princess Diana was really bold with her fashion choices over the years, that ranged from kind of casual to the red carpet looks. But there was one particular dress that was mentioned in this article. I think she wore it to an event in Qatar around in the 1980s, 1984, and it had quite long sleeves, and it was, again, much more sort of covered in that sense. And then 2 years later, I think at an event in Cameroon, she just got rid of the sleeves, and it looked, totally different. But yeah, recycling in a way that's, very popular these days.
Do you know what? I think I could host a whole show about nothing but royal fashion.
You'd
love
be
it.
brilliant at it, Jo.
Fascinating.
It's a specialist subject.
So would you, sitting there resplendent in your royal purple. Well, as this show goes out, the King and Queen will be setting off to Australia and Samoa for an important royal trip. Our Rebecca English is never far behind the pair, and she's out there too. You will not be surprised to know. She sent us this report from Australia where the excitement is really building.
So the big story of the day is, of course, Harry and Meghan. It's dominating everything, and it will go on doing so for a very long time.
Wow.
It seems in America that they're gaining a lot of support. People feel sorry for them. They've got what's called mover's advantage. They've got their side of the story out first. I'm not sure how the royal family are going to respond to this. They've been put in a very, very difficult spot.
What do you mean by that?
But all of this was so predictable. I remember thinking at the time of the wedding, and I was doing some work for Fox News on the wedding, I remember thinking, why is Oprah Winfrey there? I mean, Meghan met her once. I think she planned a big Hollywood career on the back of being a princess right from the very word go, and that Harry was just too weak to deal with it.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
But just look at the accusations that are being made. Look at the charge against the royal family of racism. Now,
Boy.
everyone knows when a baby's on the way, there's always speculation. What will it look like? Who will he or she look like? What colour will their hair be? How big will they be? What will they weigh? I don't know whether somebody in the royal household made a comment about what the colour might be. I don't know the truth of that.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
I really honestly don't. But when Meghan was questioned on that, did somebody in the royal household ask what colour the baby would be, she said potentially. Either way, we won't know. But it is the slur of racism against the royal family which really upsets me. The Queen is coming up now for 70 years, not just as the Queen of our country, but head of the Commonwealth. She and the royal family have ceaselessly, over the decades, toured round the Commonwealth, something that has meant so much to them. The vast majority of the 2.3 billion people that live in the Commonwealth are Asian or black.
Yes, exactly.
You could argue the royal family have done more for people of colour than any other family or group of people in the world. So that charge, to me, just doesn't stand up. As for this whole business about mental health, about bullying, about being silenced, well, she might have thought she was joining a soap opera, but she was joining the royal family. Maybe she thought she was going to replace Lady Di. Maybe she thought she was going to be the centre of all attention.
What?
But the idea that she has somehow been done down or discriminated against in any way is nonsense. The crowds that were there on the day of the royal wedding, the street parties that took place across the country, the media, it was wall to wall. Do you remember her going to Brixton? They were cheering, "We love you, Meghan." I can't think of anything, any negativity in the press at the time of their wedding.
Are you sure about that?
Sure, criticism followed. It always does if you're a public figure with the English tabloid press. That goes with the territory. But this all started because Harry and Meghan were lecturing us about climate change, about carbon emissions, whilst flying around the world in private jets. And that was when the criticism began.
Are you serious?
So off they went to Canada, to live in isolated Canada, because they didn't want the press speculation. Really? Well, now Harry's on the James Corden show. They're both appearing in a 2-hour special with Oprah Winfrey. If you haven't watched the CBS output last night, you can, if you wish, see it on ITV today. But
God, please, no! 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 No!
it's all about victimhood. It's all about how badly they've been treated. And they are posing an enormous threat to the royal family, who are going to find it, as I said before, very tough to answer some of these negatives.
Boring.
I kind of grew up thinking that Edward VIII, Wallis Simpson, these were really bad people. And yet, when you look at it, you know, they were interviewed, big sit down in their house in Paris in about 1970, and both of them were loyal to the crown, did not say disobliging things about it to their dying day.
Wow.
Despite the fact they were treated very, very harshly indeed. So we need to get the word out in America. I've been trying a bit today on some American media channels that this is one side of a story and that actually they behaved badly. And as for Harry, well, whatever my criticisms are of Meghan, they are nothing as compared to how I feel about Prince Harry. To publicly betray members of your own family in front of the world's media the way that he has done is, I think, nothing short of being absolutely despicable.
Come on now, dog.
And when he says, "Oh, my father wasn't promising us lots of money," well, of course not, because he wasn't prepared to go on doing the job. The most damning thing that I've heard about Prince Harry is there he was, Captain General of the Royal Marines. And on the day there was a Royal Marine event, a fundraising event, where was he?
I don't know.
In Leicester Square, talking to the boss of Disney, Bob Iger, and overheard saying to Eisner, "My wife would like some voiceover work." So don't talk to us about duty being universal. We saw a better sense of duty, I think, from the Queen talking about Commonwealth Day, which of course is today. I think the time has come to strip them of their royal titles. They are clearly intent on, number one, destroying the monarchy, and number two, making themselves as bigger stars, as bigger leaders of the woke revolution in America and the rest of the world.
My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
It's a very, very sad day for this country. I have no sympathy for either of them whatsoever. She must have known what she was getting into. He was born into a life of privilege. I know it was an awful thing to lose his mother in such a public way at that young age. But if we destroy the monarchy, we destroy something very special about this country. I think that's what they're intent on doing. And I'm going to do my best over the next week to try and get that counter-argument put out there into America.
Good job.
The idea that the British royal family are racist after all they've done for the Commonwealth is, frankly, beneath contempt.